I actually regret to inform you that this is another episode of Trash Talk. I am Damian Hill. The reason why I regret that is because last night was horrible for me. I've been having malfunctions with my equipment, and dude, it's nobody's fault. It's not any malfunction, dude. I'm not checking my equipment properly before I start these recordings. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I thought I had it under control, and I obviously didn't. I'm sorry, you guys. You guys deserve better, and I should be better, and I know better. I'm very sorry about this, guys. But all of the post-fight interviews that I got, the audio wasn't being recorded. The no sound was going in through the mics. You could hear background noise a little bit, but you could not hear the voices of anybody that I was interviewing. I have no idea why that is actually going down or where the sound was actually coming from, because it wasn't even the sound that we heard while I was doing the interview. So I'm going to go over the results of the fight for you. Do my best and try to quote the fighters in the best of my memory from what I believe that they said in the post-fight interviews, the ones that I was able to get one done with. So let's just go off of it. Fred Thomas versus Charles Meyer. That was a good fight. Way to kick off the night. It ended in a draw, actually. I don't know if how many people watching actually understand the rules of boxing and how things go, but it was a 4-round fight, 2 rounds to 2 rounds. It's a draw. So it's not like MMA where there's 3 rounds and there's 5 rounds. Those are the set amount of rounds. So it's way harder to get a draw in MMA, but in boxing with the rounds set up, I think it's 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. There could be some draws with those even numbers. And it was a good fight, crowd pleaser. Charles Meyer retired after the fight. He came back after a few years off, and I mean, we talked about it in the post-fight interview, the one that you guys actually aren't able to see, but there was a point in the fight where he literally shook off his shoulders and then got back into the fight and was throwing hands. And I asked him, I was like, do you feel like you were shaking off some rust? And he long story short, yeah, he felt the change in the fight, and he just made that adjustment, and he knew what he needed to do, and it all clicked at that point. And I was happy for him. Granted, it ended in a draw, but he's one of those guys that got to fight in front of his daughters, and he's never lost in front of his daughters, and that stat still holds true today. So proud of you, Charles. We go on to Jose Homar Rios versus Jesse Walters. And man, did Jesse Walters come out and look like a fucking stud. Like right away, dropping his opponent with quick combos, fast hands, just looking crisp and perfect. But the heart and determination of Jose, he would not get finished. I actually thought that the fight should have been stopped after that first knockdown. It just looked really bad. It didn't look like he was going to recover from it. This motherfucker owes me a slap to the face, because not only did he recover from it, he came back and started to show some life in the fight. Like, he was answering back with big shots. I think Walters was a little bit too much, and he looked really good, and it never looked like he was losing the fight. But how could you not be impressed with Jose with the way that he handled the first barrage and then came back and fought the entire fight, never being dropped again? Just a ton of fucking heart, dude. His body carried, or his mind carried him where his body should have shut down, and it didn't. Jose, you have the heart of a warrior, and Jesse Walters, amazing performance tonight. Colin Stagger versus Andrew Case Allen. Man, when we talk about a guy defying the odds, we have to bring about Andrew Case Allen. And when I say defy the odds, like the odds against him with the amount of amateur experience, his opponent had over 40 amateur boxing matches. Andrew never having not one. His opponent also being 3-0 in boxing. Andrew making his pro debut. He looked good. He looked really good all the way up until he looked bad. And Colin actually suffered a torn bicep in the fight and was still able to get the finish with the knockout. Congratulations to you, Colin, and way to fucking perform. Both guys should be holding their heads high. That was a crowd favorite. Everybody loved it. It had to have been knockout of the night, so congratulations, Colin. Then we go into Lexi Pope versus Amy Lemonade. I think is Lemonade is how she said it was pronounced. That's not how it's written, and I can't read, so bear with me. And I'm sorry, Amy, if I'm butchering your last name, but you should be used to it by now. Come on. But I am sorry. But that was the only female fight of the card, and man, the crowd was pleasing. These two, I'm not sure if there was any beef, and I wasn't able to speak to both of the fighters afterwards, but it seemed like both of these gals did not like each other at all the entire time the fight was going on. But then as soon as the bell rings, the final bell rings, there's hugs, there's congratulations going on. Man, there's just nothing but respect. It was a dog fight, and these ladies brought it the whole time. Everybody was on their feet for that. Nice job, ladies. Now, we get into the co-main event. We had Nicholas Compton. Nick Compton. Dude, I can't call you Nicholas. Nick Compton versus Danny Huffman. And man, was that a great fight from both guys. When I break down this fight, I don't want to sound insulting to either guy, but it's just one of those fights where no matter what, I feel like while I'm giving one guy a compliment, I'm going to be insulting the other. You know, it seemed like Danny came out right away knowing exactly what he had to do. He's the more experienced boxer. He's been in there. He has all this amateur experience and a few pro fights as well. Was undefeated going into this fight. And when he came out in that first round, you saw that he was ready to implement that. Like, dude, what are you doing in the boxing world? You're not ready for this. You shouldn't even be here. And that's kind of how the first round looked. But that second round, Nick turned it around. He started to come back, and he took that second round. I thought the second round was his. And that's where it came into I can't speak from the mindset of a fighter because I'm not them. You know, this is just something that I thought was going on. Nick has been away from boxing for about 5 years. This is his first time back, but when he comes into a sport, when he comes into martial arts, he's ready to learn the martial art that he's about to go perform in. MMA does not have the best reputation for the hands. And anybody who has had any experience in MMA or sparring an MMA fighter and then sparring a boxer, there's a huge difference, you know, and a lot of MMA fighters, especially back in the day, didn't really respect it, didn't even care, you know. But nowadays, when you show up to a boxing gym and you get shown that you don't got hands and you really believe that you had hands, something clicks in your mind where you're like, oh, man, I thought I had hands. I need to learn some hands for real. And that's what Nick Compton did. And that's what I feel got him the win, or why I feel he got the win tonight. He took it seriously. He knew he was going against the boxer, and he came out there ready to box. And, man, that's just early running for upset of the year. And now we have the main event. Caleb Truax versus his opponent, David Balabajadbelemini-ville. Dude, I'm sorry. I made a joke about the last name. I'm not even gonna try to fucking pronounce it. I can't pronounce it. But that fight was a really good fight. When it comes to strategy from Caleb, he fought smart. He did what he was exactly what he was supposed to do, which was go out there and get the win. And he didn't take any damage, or didn't take a lot of damage. And the reason why, like, I kind of say it the way I did is because his opponent was fighting dirty. Like, I literally seen David throw a hammer fist to the back of Caleb's head, and David actually did get a point taken away from the fight, but it wasn't for the hammer fist that I'm complaining about right now. Like, he he made this a dogfight and was trying to get Caleb agitated, I think, to draw him into a brawling match where I think he was probably hoping to capitalize on. Caleb, being the veteran that he is and showing the former world champion mindset, he did not get drawn into his game, into his plan. He did what he wanted to do. And when they were inside on the clinch, every single time on the exit, it seemed like Caleb was hitting him with that right hand, a powerful right hand. And he got the job done tonight. I couldn't be more proud. Can't wait to see what's next for all of the fighters on the card, especially Caleb, especially since we know that he has a fight coming up in 2 weeks. And hopefully that's the fight that gets him back in that title picture. And this has been Trash Talk again. I'm very sorry and somewhat disappointed that I even had to make this video. You guys should be watching the interviews from the fighters right now and not listening to me talk. So sorry about that, but I do thank you.